With the Nintendo Switch 2 releasing in less than a month from now, I thought it'd be an interesting idea to go back and look at the entire Nintendo Switch library and pick out my top 20 favorite games of the original Nintendo Switch. I would also like to mention that these are my personal top 20 favorite games. These are not what I think the best games are or, where I see the most talent. These are just my personal favorites. So just to warn you up front, you're going to see some things on this list that are probably not going to make any sense or that will be very controversial. However, these are just my personal favorite games to play, including a few of my guilty pleasures. Starting off with number 20, we have Snipper Clips. This was a game that really got my attention when it was first announced. I love the idea of cooperative games, especially fun multiplayer titles like this. You can play it single player, but it just doesn't really work. I've played this quite a few times actually with different people, and it's really interesting how different the game is depending on who you're playing with. Sometimes it's gotten a little stressful, but most of the time it was really lighthearted and fun. This is a game that I really truly enjoyed, and I was hoping that we were going to see something from this developer for the launch of the Switch 2. However, nothing as of right now has been announced, but here's hoping that we get more of content just like this, because this game was fantastic. For number 19, I have Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I know, these games are controversial with a lot of hardcore Pokemon fans, and when these were announced, I know a lot of people were really disappointed that we were not immediately getting mainline Pokemon titles. However, I gotta say that looking back over the entire history of all of the Pokemon games, these two games look the best. They look the best, they run the best. I was hoping that all Pokemon games were going to look and feel similar to this title after this was released. However, quite, infamously, the Pokemon Scarlet has a lot of technical problems. However, this game is totally solid. Not only that, but I love I love when Nintendo and Game Freak kind of do something creative with their games, like releasing that little Pokeball Plus controller thing was just brilliant, fantastic. I actually bought that separately about a couple days after the game came out, and I loved it. It was so much more fun playing with holding that little Pokeball versus holding the Joy-Con. My only really complaints about this game was that, at least at the time, there was no Pro Controller support. I don't know if there is anymore now, but you had to just play with one Joy-Con. It was kind of weird, and you always had to sort of do the throwing motion unless you played in handheld mode. I really enjoyed the game a whole lot. Like I said, the Pokeball Plus was my favorite aspect of the game, and I'm a little nostalgic for this title. It was, early days of the Switch, really exciting stuff. It got me really excited for the future Pokemon titles. However, most of those, at least for me, ended up being a disappointment. And I'm a sucker for Kanto. I'm sorry. I'm so nostalgic for that region. I love those Pokemon. I love that style. So this is definitely one of my favorite games for the Nintendo Switch. Coming in at number 18, we have ARMS. This was a title that I was not excited about really very much at all. I saw this in the Nintendo showcase before the Switch, or at the Switch announcement, before the Switch was released. And I thought, it seems kind of motion control. I'm not really that into it. However, later on, I think at a treehouse or a demo or something, they had mentioned that the motion controls are optional. They are not required. And then I was really interested, because if I could play with Pro Controller, which is my preferred way to play, I would give this a try. Sure enough, Pro Controller support was there. I picked it up on day one, and I absolutely loved this title. The strategy rock, paper, scissors style of punch or block or grab was awesome. I played this with a lot of my friends when the Switch came out, because people were more willing to try some of the stranger games because there wasn't that much, the first couple months it was pretty dry. But I played this with a few people and they really enjoyed it. This was sort of the main fighting game before Smash Brothers. This was the great fighting title that was on the console that I loved and had a lot of fun with playing with other people. I will say my biggest complaint about the title is that, if you play it now with its current updates and DLC in its full roster and character list, it's great. There's like badges to collect and like trophies and like kind of like mini achievements and like a bunch of new characters and just a whole lot of interesting stuff. If the game would have launched with all of that content day one, I think this would have had a really good fighting chance at being one of the best fighting games on the Nintendo Switch. For number 17, I have Link's Awakening. I really am nostalgic for this game. I was living in Hawaii at the time, so being on a tropical island while playing Link's Awakening was pretty magical. I was living in Waikiki, having fun just playing Link's Awakening on the weekends. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed the art style. I know that it was controversial at the time. A lot of people did not like it. They wanted something more serious, which kind of reminded me of Wind Waker. I love the style. I love the puzzles. I love the character designs. I love everything about it except the frame rate. The frame rate really was sort of ruined for me. I got through the game. I played through it a couple of times, but I really am excited to revisit this title and Echoes of Wisdom when the Switch 2 launches. I was unable to get through Echoes of Wisdom. I probably played about 2 hours of it, and I said, you know what? The Switch 2's around the corner. I bet you they're going to upgrade this, and sure enough, they did. So these games will be perfect on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I look forward to revisiting them. For number 16, I have Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Sorry, all right, stop screaming at me. I understand that Tropical Freeze might technically be the better game, which I would agree. There's a lot more talent, in that level design. However, me personally, there's just something about that first Returns game that just, I don't know, it's perfect to me. I just love everything about it. I love the aesthetic. I love the level designs. I love the worlds. I love the tone. I love everything about it. It's fantastic. And having it in HD on the Switch, and of course eventually the Switch 2, just is great. I was so nervous that we were just going to lose this game to the Wii, and we were only going to get Tropical Freeze, but thankfully Nintendo put it on the Nintendo Switch, and it is one of my favorite games to revisit on the console. Number 15, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I am a GameCube junkie. I love everything about that console. And when people were screaming for a remake of this title, I was like, dude, there's no way that's ever going to happen. Like, there is no way. We might get it on like a GameCube NSO down the line or something like that, but it's obvious that the Paper Mario teams at Nintendo are not interested in this at all. So when this was announced as the closing segment of Nintendo Direct, I was so excited. I could not wait to revisit this title. However, I was nervous that they were going to change some things or alter some things between the announcement and the release, but thankfully, everything seems to be pretty much intact. Once again, the only problem being that it is not running at 60 frames. It is running at 30, which for Paper Mario, that doesn't really matter. But I'm sure it'll probably get an update on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I am so happy to have this in my collection. Number 14, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably wondering why New Horizons is so low on this list, which of course that would have to be on my list. I'm a huge Animal Crossing fan, and while I loved Animal Crossing New Horizons and I had a great time with it, I spent over 600 hours in the game, it's just still missing some features that I really enjoyed. It's hard to follow New Leaf on the 3DS. Like, that game was just so great, and I was hoping that this was going to be like New Leaf on steroids. However, it was missing some features. I'm not a huge fan of the crafting mechanics. Like, it's okay. I understand that. I know that Minecraft is really popular and big, and I'm sure Animal Crossing is trying to tap into some of that market. But I'm kind of hoping that the next Animal Crossing that they release will be a little bit bigger, a little bit more, finished, add a little bit more content, maybe support it a little bit longer. I do know that team also creates all of the Splatoon titles, so I'm sure they're much more busy working on those games. But please give a little bit more love and attention to Animal Crossing Next Generation. We've had a few great Splatoon games. I think we could take a little bit of a break on those, and let's focus on giving us another great Animal Crossing title next time. Number 13, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The art style of this game is fantastic. I love the tone, the style, the power-ups. It is such an interesting and strange 2D game that really does truly, I know that everyone has said this by now, but it does feel like the sequel to Super Mario World. We've been waiting so long to get another game that is its own, personality, its own tone. And Super Mario Bros. Wonder definitely does that for me. My biggest complaint is that for me, the boss battles were pretty bad. You just fight Bowser Jr. a bunch of times. Even the final boss, which I won't spoil here, but the final boss of the game also is not that rewarding or interesting. The levels and everything are great, but I just want a little bit more from the boss fights. I want a little bit more of an epic feeling to that. And I just kind of, I don't know. After I beat it, I was just kind of like, is that it? Really? That's the end of the game? So while I love the design and everything that they've done, I'm hoping that maybe next time they can make it just a little bit more epic of an ending. But super happy to have the game. Hopefully we can get a sequel or something similar to it on the Switch too. Number 12, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is another title that I am extremely nostalgic for. Came out when I was once again living in Waikiki. My wife and I actually both picked up copies of this game at the same time together, and we played it all weekend long. Such a magical game. I love this game. This is actually a game that I was playing in Hawaii when I lived there, and then while I was moving to Japan. So I played half of it in Hawaii and half of it when I moved here to Japan. And it just really sort of that time in my life feels wrapped up in this game a lot. Like I can't hear the music or play that game without being reminded of that time in my life. It's just such a special title to me. And it's the first time we've really seen, Kirby go 3D and have his own really nice epic adventure. I really hope that they can put out another title that's similar to this style, but maybe different, do something else with it. I know there's going to be more DLC coming for the Switch too. I might check that out. We'll have to see how much they're going to charge for that. But overall, absolutely love this title and recommend it to anybody that is a Kirby fan or even just moderately curious about it. It's really worth it. Definitely check it out. Number 11, Splatoon 2. Now, some people might be wondering, why Splatoon 2 and not Splatoon 3? It's like, well, because Splatoon 2 for me was in that launch window. I was living in Hawaii at the time. I having a summer title and a brand new Nintendo console and Splatoon and Ocean and all of that vibe, it just, I absolutely loved it. I played that game constantly. The online, Turf War battles were so much fun. There's just something about the tone of that game that I prefer to Splatoon 3. The weapons were even great. I really followed it and dove completely into this title. I was 50-50 in to the first Splatoon on the Wii U, but this one I was like, nope, I'm going all in. I'm going to play it all the time, and I can even check on the Nintendo app what levels are currently available and what's going on in the game all the time, so I can kind of see what's going on, sort of plan my day and say, hey, okay, at 3 o'clock I'm going to go play because this map is going to be available. Just a really great game. Absolutely loved it. I do kind of hope we get a little bit of a break from Splatoon for a while now. We just had 2 and 3 on the first Switch. I could kind of go without for most of this generation, but I do love the franchise. My favorite still is Splatoon 2, and here's hoping the future is bright for that franchise, because it definitely seems to, the sky is the limit for Splatoon. Number 10, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So I tried not to put too many Wii U ports on this list, simply because I just didn't want the list to just be mostly Wii U titles. But this game truly is pretty magical for me. So when the first version of this came out for the Wii U, I kind of begrudgingly bought it and played it just because there wasn't anything else in the Wii U at the time. And I thought the game was okay. I was just like, it's not that great. I wanted another Galaxy or another Mario Sunshine or another Mario 64. And this was sort of a letdown. It just felt like more 3D land from the 3DS. Played it, beat it, was fine. Didn't think about it anymore. So when they announced it for the Switch, I was like, well, I'm going to pass on that. I don't need that. I don't really want that. But I was kind of curious about that Bowser's Fury. Like, what is this? Like, that's kind of got my attention. I ended up picking it up at the Ala Moana store at like right outside of Waikiki. It was actually a Target I picked that up at, and Target was doing a little thing where they would give you a free like Cat Mario water bottle with it, like if you bought it, and it had all the Mario characters on it with like in cat suits, which I'm a cat guy, so I thought that was like the coolest thing. But I picked it up and I started to play it, and Nintendo had made these little tweaks to the base game that I thought just really fixed the title. Like the speed, it was so much faster. The controls were were quite a bit better. It was just a lot better of an experience than I remembered. And maybe that's because I've had Mario Odyssey now, and I can just, I've had that crazy 3D experience, so now I can do something more simple. But I just loved it quite a bit more. And not only that, but with Bowser's Fury, it felt like this is the future of the Mario franchise, this open world sort of exploration kind of design. I think that was phase 1. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is phase 2. And I think eventually phase 3, the final phase, will be getting that 3D open world Mario title. But I loved both of these games in this one pack. Really fantastic. I went from not going to buy it at all to absolutely loving it and putting it on my top 20 list. So if you've been on the fence about it or you've thought about checking it out, it is worth checking out. And it is definitely one of my favorite Mario titles on the original Nintendo Switch. Number 9, Mario Odyssey. So speaking of Mario titles, Mario Odyssey will always hold a special place in my heart. I absolutely love this title. It is really great. I know the complaints about it are there. The moons are a little too easy, not difficult at all really to get. I do sort of miss the the Mario Sunshine and the Mario 64 kind of setup to, here's a mission, and then at the end of that you can get 1 star or 1 shine sprite. Now it's like you can just like, whoops, you went to the right bathroom, here's a moon, and it's like, oh wow, that's kind of a little too easy. Interesting game. I really enjoyed it. I could definitely see the flaws, but it did for me scratch that itch of the 3D Mario experience. I do kind of hope that they can bring back some of that magic from 64 and Sunshine next time, maybe make it a little bit more difficult. But overall, absolutely love the title. I've replayed through that quite a few times, and every time I do, I always enjoy it. I have to admit, I always enjoy playing through Mario Odyssey. Number 8, Metroid Prime Remastered. I screamed out loud when I saw this announced at a Nintendo Direct. I've always wanted to play this game, and I know I'm a huge GameCube fan, but for some reason at that age, Metroid just didn't click with me. It was just too confusing and like, what is this? What am I supposed to do? I don't get this. I'm not interested. Blech. And so I just walked away from it. But now that I'm older and I can kind of appreciate that Metroidvania level layout and style, I've been wanting to play this game, but I dug out my old GameCube and I started kind of playing it, and I was like, I might just wait for like a remaster, because at the time Metroid Prime 4 was on the horizon, so I was like, maybe they'll put those games on the Switch somehow. And sure enough, they gave us Metroid Prime Remastered. And this game is gorgeous. I think that it was destined to be the best looking game on the Nintendo Switch until, of course, I think Metroid Prime 4 is released. That will probably be ultimately the best looking game on the console. But Really love this title. The level design is beautiful and gorgeous. The atmosphere is so like precise. Like, you know, the rain and that Talon overworld just always is so cozy, and it just gets me every single time. I've played through this a couple of times. I've been itching to go back and play through it more, but I don't want to burn myself out before Metroid Prime 4 comes out because we don't have a release date for that yet. But I really love this title. I hope that Prime 2 and 3 get the same treatment because the talent in Retro Studios is just second to none. Like, great job, everybody out there. Like, wow, I can't wait to see what everybody does in the future. Number 7, Unicorn Overlord. All right, so just bear with me here for a second. This is, I'm sure, a strange title to have on the top 20 list for Switch games. However, this is one of those few RPGs that just really sank its teeth in me and just did not let up at all. It really just, I got addicted to it. I just couldn't put it down. I'd play it for like 2 hours and I go, okay, I'm gonna take a break and just kind of hang out. I get a little bit of lunch, and about 20-30 minutes later, it's like, I think I'm gonna go back and play more of that. And I couldn't stop playing it. The characters are great. The dialogue was interesting. I loved the world and the story and the art style. Like, the hand-drawn characters are just so pretty and well done. And then the pixel art is also cool too. Like, I don't know. I just love everything about it. Like, and well, it's kind of funny too. I've actually never beaten this game. The last mission that I have to complete on my save file right now is the final level, and I don't want to do it. I don't want the game to end. I come back to it every once in a while, and I battle some people, and I do this and I do that, and it's like, I don't want to beat the game, because once I beat the game, then it's done, and I've done everything. So I'm just kind of holding on. But I should probably at some point go back and just beat it and see the ending of the game, because I would like to see how the story does end. But if this game looks even just remotely interested to you, and you like tactical RPGs, or even just tactical games in general, definitely check this out. I was so surprised at how much I loved this game. Number 6, Monster Hunter Rise. So Monster Hunter has been a franchise that I have always wanted to get into. It's been very difficult of a franchise to get into for me. I tried to a little bit on the 3DS with Monster Hunter 4, but I didn't have any friends that also played these games, and you really kind of need somebody to like get you into it and like kind of walk you through it and kind of tell you what everything is, because there's so many items, there's so many mechanics, and there's so much stuff to do that you just kind of get lost. You're just like, what is this? How do I do that? And the tutorials don't help, because it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose. Like, they just throw tutorial text at you like every 5 seconds, and you're like, wait, what's this? Wait, what's that? Oh, this is a different mechanic. Okay, just slow down. And so I didn't know anybody at the time that played it, but around the time of the Switch, I had a buddy of mine. He knew how to play, and so when Rise came out, we played it together. He kind of told me a little bit of this and kind of helped walk me through it. And once he got me walking, I started running on my own, and I haven't looked back since. Monster Hunter is a fantastic franchise. This will always be probably either my favorite game or a very special game to me, because this is the game that got me into the franchise, taught me the mechanics, taught me how to play the game, and taught me to hunt monsters. And I am from here on a huge fan of this franchise, all thanks to this title. And that is why it is definitely got to be here on my list of favorite Nintendo Switch games. Number 5, Metroid Dread. I have always wanted to get into 2D Metroid titles. I played a little bit of Fusion, a little bit of Zero Mission, but I was always kind of waiting for the next game. Give me a brand new title, and then I'll work my way backwards, right? Kind of like similar to Metroid Prime. Like, give me a new modern version so that I can really understand it, and then I can go back and enjoy the older titles eventually later on. And thankfully, they announced Metroid Dread. I was extremely excited for it. It looked beautiful. I picked it up day one. I actually picked up 2 copies of it. I bought the special edition, the big box edition from Best Buy, and I just bought the regular edition from my local GameStop, because that's the only one I could get pre-ordered. But I I've played through this game a couple of times. The boss rush mode is really fun. I love the character designs, and the world and the atmosphere is so rich. If you like kind of alien, scary, explorative kind of games, like, this is definitely, like, do not sleep on this game. Don't sleep. Number 4, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Ultimate is the only word you can use to describe this game. It is the combination of everything that has made Super Smash Bros. Great, except for trophies, and has pulled it all together into one awesome title. It is still my second favorite, behind Melee, my favorite Smash Bros. Game. I love it a lot. It is my go-to Smash game because new players, old players, everybody can get behind this game and play it. There's plenty of characters, plenty of stages, like, absolutely incredible feat. Honestly, I don't need another Smash Brothers for 10 years. Like, take a decade off, Sakurai, and just, we're looking forward to Kirby Air Riders, make a few more other fun games. I don't want a new Smash on the Switch too. Maybe just do another DLC pack if you gotta, but honestly, I'm happy with the product that we got. I can't think of really anything else I'd want, and that's the sign of basically almost a perfect game, unless you were to add trophies. But at this point, I'm good. Thank you so much, Sakurai, for this title. It's, it can't get any better. Number 3, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I understand that people are frustrated with this title because of the price that they charged, and then also you could only buy it for 6 months, digitally and physically. However, it was hard to leave this off the list. I just couldn't do it. Having these games in one package on my Switch, I have actually bought it digitally and physically. It's fantastic. Every once in a while, when I'm in the mood to play the Switch, I'm looking through my game list and I'm like, I want to play something, but I don't really know what. I don't know. I want to play something. And I look at this, I'm like, I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that. Are you having that kind of mood when you're just like, I want to play something, but nothing really seems okay. Nothing really seems good. Nothing's jumping out at me. But then I always remember 3D All-Stars, and I pop that in, and I play some Mario Galaxy, or I play some Sunshine, and it's just, this is just great. I can come back to this anytime, any day, and have a great time. And to me, that's all a game has to be, is something that I can pick up and play at any time. I'm always in the mood for it, and it just scratches that gaming itch, and it's perfect. The only thing that I would say that I would change about it was that I wish 64 was also in widescreen with the other two games, but I'm just glad that the at least Sunshine and Galaxy are, I would like to have had Galaxy 2 on there, but we'll probably get that later on down the line. But I love these games, and all the controversy and all the other problems. I see that, I hear you, I get it, but sorry, I love these games. What else can I say? Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. This really is the most important game on the Nintendo Switch. You could credit this game for saving the entire company of Nintendo. They were on the brink of destruction with the Wii U. Even though the 3DS was sort of keeping them afloat, it never really had the mass appeal that the Nintendo Switch or the Wii would have. They needed a really big hit, and they got it with Breath of the Wild. This game was exactly what Nintendo needed, exactly at the right time. Everything just perfectly came together. The biggest complaint was, of course, the frame rate and the technical specs. It did not run at a consistent frame rate, but now with the Switch 2, obviously I've said this a few times now, Switch 2 is going to come in and make everything better, but this game it made people want to buy not just the Nintendo Switch, but I had friends that couldn't get a Nintendo Switch, so they went out and bought a Wii U just to play this game. This was such a huge title. And I just, you got to give credit where it's due. This game really changed Nintendo and is sort of the linchpin between, the older Nintendo company and the modern Nintendo corporation. Like, I don't think we'd have Nintendo theme parks or the upcoming, Nintendo movies or, even a Switch 2. Like, who knows, right? If this game had not done what it did, I don't know what state the company would be in. And in my personal opinion, this is the best game on the console. It's not my favorite, which this is my favorite list, but technically, I think this is one of the best games Nintendo has ever made and possibly will ever make. And to be playing the game in the climate when it came out on that hardware, we were all discovering these things all together. Like, did you know that you could ride a bear? Like, did you know you could do this? Did you know you could do that? And like all of us making these drastic discoveries together. That to me is what gaming is all about, is that community, that feeling. Like, I'll never forget, I was playing the game and I got to this bridge and I'm riding my horse and I'm going across the bridge. And then all of a sudden out of the water comes a dragon. And he just starts flying into the sky. And I stood there for like 10 minutes just watching the dragon fly up into the sky, circle around, and go back down into the lake. And at that moment, I knew this is an extremely special experience and one that I would never forget. Number 1. This one will not come too much to a surprise to the people that know me best. But as I said before, I love the GameCube. And the GameCube introduced to me probably either my first or second favorite franchise from Nintendo. And it's always sort of been in the background and people really not, appreciating it. And it's just kind of been ignored and pushed off, even though it's been championed by Miyamoto for so long. And he's really kind of kept this franchise alive. They finally perfected it, in my opinion, on the Nintendo Switch with Pikmin 4. What can I say about this game? It's beautiful. It is so fun to play. The atmosphere is so when I play this game, I feel like I'm there. I love the characters. I love the design of the Pikmin. I even love the new Pikmin. I was worried that I wasn't going to like the glow Pikmin or the ice Pikmin, but they fit right in there. Like, even the enemies are great. I love the brand new boss battles. All of the boss battles are just fantastic. I love their design and the way that you fight them. I love Ochi. I was initially worried about Ochi. I was like, all right, is this just going to make the game too easy? And it's like, no, he doesn't. He's fantastic. Like, the story's great. I love the fact that you're collecting little like retro pieces from Nintendo. Like, I love like the Picklopedia's back. The game to me is just perfect. I absolutely love it. I do selfishly wish there was DLC, which there's not. Hopefully they're just going to take those DLC ideas and put them into Pikmin 5. I really hope we do get more of this title, like, in the Switch 2 or the Switch 2. Hopefully we can get like Pikmin 5 coming and it'll be kind of similar to this. I enjoyed Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Pikmin 1 and 2 on the Switch as well. But I have to say, Pikmin 4 has stolen my heart. I absolutely love this game. And it's perfect. I can't say anything else. I love it to death. It is my favorite game on the Nintendo. It is my favorite game on the Nintendo Switch. So that is my list of the top 20 favorite games for the Nintendo Switch. Leave a comment in the bottom for whatever you think I got wrong. What did I get right? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know. What do you think is your favorite game? What's the best game on the console? Mine's Pikmin 4, but hey, what do I know? I'm just some idiot sitting in a room talking into a microphone, trying not to go back to work. Anyway, hopefully we've got a whole lot of great games coming for the Nintendo Switch 2. Hopefully I can do another one of these videos or one of these podcasts later on down the line whenever the Switch 2 wraps up. I know that I know that the Switch 2 is coming out soon, and I know that there are other games coming for the original Switch, but those are all going to be cross-platform, and I'm going to see those more as Switch 2 titles. To me, the last Switch title will always be Xenoblade Chronicles X. But I love the Nintendo Switch. I love the software. The games are fantastic. This console will always be very special to me. And here's hoping we can make some new memories with the Switch 2. But all of you, take care of yourselves out there, and have a good one.